The discovery. The Galactic Confederation represented the pinnacle of interstellar cooperation. 2,000 species from across the Milky Way, united under principles of mutual advancement and civilization. At the heart of the Confederation lay a complex classification system, a way to categorize newly discovered species and determine their place in the grand cosmic hierarchy. Admiral Zilara Vantas gazed through the viewport of the Confederation flagship Eternal Wisdom as it approached the blue-green planet that humans called Earth. Her 4 eyes, characteristic of her Saurian heritage, blinked in sequence as she processed the incoming data. Initial assessment complete, Admiral Lieutenant Krill reported, his scaled fingers moving deftly across the holographic interface. Human technology, primarily fossil fuel-based with rudimentary nuclear capabilities. Atmospheric travel achieved. Limited orbital presence. Primitive chemical propulsion for their modest space exploration. Their most distant probe has barely left their solar system. Zilara nodded slowly, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. Classification. Based on standard metrics, humans qualify as Class C civilization. Space-capable but Admiral Zilara could scarcely believe the reports. The vessel, which humans apparently called the Odysseus, had been towed to the Confederation's primary research facility orbiting Proxima Centauri. She now stood before it, witnessing firsthand the impossibility of its existence. This cannot be human technology, Science Director Thelos insisted, his skin alternating between pale yellow and confused purple. Their most advanced spacecraft use ion thrusters and take years to reach their outer planets. This vessel, he gestured helplessly, the hull material alone defies our analysis. It contains element configurations we've never seen. Zilara ran her clawed hand over the impossibly smooth surface. When was it built? That's the most perplexing part. Thelos activated his datapad. The ship's eye, which is itself at least 100 years beyond human capability, claims this vessel was launched in 2032. That's 11 Earth years ago, before our first contact. Impossible, Zilara whispered. Furthermore, Thelos continued, the AI indicates this was one of many such vessels, part of something called Project Daedalus. Zilara's secondary heart began pounding faster. What kind of propulsion system does it use? It appears to be. Thelos hesitated, checking his readings again. Admiral, if these readings are correct, it's using controlled quantum tunneling. The entire ship creates its own Einstein-Rosen bridge and traverses it. That's more advanced than our own technology, Zilara said slowly. By approximately 300 years, Thelos confirmed grimly. The implications hung heavily in the recycled air of the research bay. If humans possessed this level of technology, why maintain the charade of primitive development? Why accept the patronizing gifts of technology centuries behind their actual capabilities? Has the AI explained its mission? Zilara finally asked. It refuses to divulge that information without proper authorization, Thelos replied. It acknowledges only that this ship was on a long-range exploration mission when it encountered a spatial anomaly that damaged its systems, forcing it into dormancy until repairs could be completed. And the crew? No biological entities aboard. The AI claims it was designed to operate autonomously. Zilara paced the length of the mysterious vessel, her military mind racing through scenarios, none of them comforting. Contact Earth's representatives immediately. I want answers. Admiral. Thelos began cautiously. Perhaps we should inform the High Council first. If humans have been deceiving us, we proceed carefully, Director. Zilara cut him off. This revelation could destabilize the entire Confederation. If humans possess technology rivaling or surpassing our own, every assumption we've made about galactic power structures requires revaluation. As if responding to their conversation, the ship's external lights pulsed once, and the AI spoke again. Attention Confederation representatives. Regenerative systems now at 62% capacity. Primary communication protocols restored. A message from Earth Command has been received and awaits delivery to authorized personnel. I am Admiral Zilara Vontis of the Galactic Confederation. I authorize message delivery. The air before them shimmered, and a holographic projection appeared. A human female in a uniform unlike any Zilara had seen in their previous diplomatic encounters. Greetings, Confederation representatives. I am Fleet Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. I understand you've discovered our vessel, the Odysseus. We appreciate your assistance in recovering it, but we must insist on its immediate return to Earth jurisdiction. A diplomatic team is en route to your facility and will arrive within 26 hours to retrieve our property and address your inevitable questions. The message ended, leaving Zilara and Thelos staring at the empty space where the projection had been. United Earth Defense Force. Thelos whispered, "Our intelligence indicates humans have no unified military, just competing national forces." Zilara's tactical mind clicked into high gear. "It seems our intelligence has significant gaps. Alert all Confederation vessels in this sector. Upgrade security protocols." And she added with grim determination, "Prepare the Council for a diplomatic situation unlike any we faced before." The ship's AI spoke once more, its tone somehow conveying amusement despite its mechanical nature. "Admiral Vontis, if I may offer a suggestion, you might want to revise humanity's classification status in your records. We're a bit further along than you've estimated." Zilara looked at the vessel with new eyes, no longer seeing a miraculous anomaly, but the harbinger of a fundamental shift in galactic politics. Humanity had been hiding in plain sight, concealing capabilities that would force the Confederation to treat them as equals rather than primitives to be guided. The question was, why? And more importantly, what else were they hiding? She would have her answers soon enough. The humans were coming. And this time, she suspected, they wouldn't be playing the role of humble galactic novices. The truth unveiled. The Confederation's central hub orbiting Proxima Centauri buzzed with unprecedented activity. Security protocols had been elevated to their highest peacetime levels. The Hall of Assembly, normally reserved for full Confederation meetings, had been hastily prepared for the incoming human delegation. Admiral Zilara Vontis stood rigidly at the observation deck, watching as the human vessel approached. Unlike the primitive chemical rockets and clumsy shuttles humans had previously used for diplomatic missions, this craft moved with impossible grace. Its hull shimmered with subtle energy fields that their sensors struggled to penetrate. "That's not a diplomatic shuttle," Captain Morex observed. "That's a warship." "Correct assessment," Zilara acknowledged. "Though they've powered down weapons systems." A gesture of good faith, or perhaps confidence. The human vessel docked with mathematical precision. When the airlock cycled open, 6 humans emerged, 5 in midnight blue uniforms adorned with silver insignia, and 1 in formal diplomatic attire. Their leader, a tall woman with silver-streaked black hair and eyes that reflected decades of command, stepped forward. "Fleet Admiral Helena Chen, United Earth Defense Force," she announced without preamble. "I believe you found something that belongs to us." Zilara performed the Confederation greeting gesture. "Admiral Zilara Vontis, welcome to Central Hub. The Council awaits." As they walked through the station's curved corridors, Zilara studied the humans carefully. These were not the hesitant, wide-eyed representatives who had accepted Confederation membership with humility and gratitude. These humans moved with the quiet confidence of equals, perhaps even superiors. The council chamber fell silent as the human delegation entered. 17 high counselors from the founding species stared with varying expressions of confusion, suspicion, and in some cases, outright alarm. High Chancellor Grilxar, whose ancient Zethian form towered over even the tallest humanoids, spoke first. "Admiral Chen, your sudden appearance has created quite the stir in Confederation space. Perhaps you might explain how a supposedly pre-FTL civilization possesses technology that our finest scientists cannot fully comprehend." Chen smiled thinly. "Chancellor, with respect, we never claimed to be pre-FTL. You simply assumed it based on what we showed you." Deception by omission is still deception, Science Director Thelos interjected. Is it deception when a stranger at your door doesn't immediately share all their personal details? Chen countered smoothly. Humanity was introduced to a vast, unknown galactic community. Caution seemed prudent. Caution. Chancellor Grilxar's voice resonated with indignation. You've maintained a deliberate facade of technological inferiority, while secretly possessing capabilities that violate Confederation protocols. Admiral Chen's expression hardened. With all due respect, Chancellor, humanity never signed those protocols. We accepted observer status in your Confederation. We agreed to cultural exchange. We never surrendered our sovereignty or our right to independent development. Zilara stepped forward. The matter at hand is the vessel we recovered. The Odysseus. Its technology suggests humanity achieved quantum tunneling propulsion over a decade ago, yet you've been accepting our gift of basic ion drive improvements. A flicker of amusement crossed Chen's face. We've been polite. You've been duplicitous, Science Director Thelos countered. The human diplomat, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke. Perhaps I can provide context that might ease tensions. She introduced herself as Dr. Maya Patel, Earth Diplomatic Corps. To understand humanity's position, you must understand our history. The Chamber's holographic system activated, projecting images of Earth's past. Wars, environmental destruction, genocides. Humanity nearly destroyed itself multiple times, Dr. Patel explained. When we finally achieved the technological breakthrough that enabled practical interstellar travel in 2029, our leaders faced a critical decision. Our species had proven itself capable of turning every technological advancement into a weapon. Now we possess technology that could potentially threaten entire star systems. The projection shifted to show the formation of the United Earth Government. The discovery of quantum tunneling propulsion united our planet as nothing had before. For the first time, all nations recognized that we couldn't risk taking our divisions into the stars. The United Earth Compact established two parallel development tracks: our public technology, which advanced at a natural pace, and our restricted technologies, developed in secret and deployed only for exploration and defense. Chancellor Grilxar's appendages rippled with agitation, and when we made contact, we saw an opportunity to learn about the galaxy before revealing our full capabilities. Dr. Patel admitted, your preliminary classification of Earth as primitive actually served our purposes. It allowed us to observe the Confederation, to understand its true nature before committing ourselves fully. The Chamber erupted in multilingual outrage. Accusations of espionage and infiltration filled the air. Admiral Chen remained impassive throughout the storm. When the clamor subsided, she spoke with quiet authority. We needed to know if the Confederation was truly built on mutual respect and cooperation, or if advanced species merely patronize those they deemed less evolved. Our observations have been informative. The diplomatic tension in the room thickened until it was nearly suffocating. Zilara recognized the precariousness of the situation. A newly revealed power with unknown capabilities, standing before the assembled might of the Confederation. One wrong word could spark an interstellar incident. Before anyone could speak, however, the station's emergency alert system blared to life. Multiple unidentified vessels entering the system, announced the security chief through the common channel. Configuration matches no known Confederation design. The main view screen activated to show a dozen ominous ships emerging from what appeared to be artificial wormholes. Their hulls were midnight black, absorbing rather than reflecting light, making them appear as mobile voids against the starfield. The Shroud, whispered a counselor in horror. Zilara's blood ran cold. The Shroud, a mysterious collective that had raided the outer Confederation territories for decades. Never staying long enough to engage in proper battle, they struck isolated outposts and disappeared with technology and captives. Dozens of ships and thousands of lives had been lost to them over the years. Central Hub defense systems activating, announced the security chief. All civilian vessels seek shelter. Confederation warships prepare for engagement. The nearest Confederation battle cruiser moved to intercept the Shroud vessels, only to be sliced in half by a weapon that seemed to distort space itself around the ship. The cruiser's remains imploded, leaving nothing but scattered debris. Our conventional defenses are ineffective against their technology, Zalera stated grimly. We need to evacuate the Council. To everyone's surprise, Admiral Chen stepped forward calmly. That won't be necessary. We can handle this. Chancellor Grilkhtar stared incredulously. Your single vessel against 12 Shroud ships? Impossible. Chen tapped her wrist communicator. Artemis Squadron, you are cleared to emerge from stealth. Defensive posture, Protocol Sentinel. The view screen suddenly showed 5 additional human vessels materializing around the hub, seemingly appearing from nowhere. Unlike the diplomatic vessel that had brought Chen's team, these ships bristled with visible weaponry. They moved into formation with practiced precision. Impossible, gasped Science Director Thelos. They've been here all along. Our sensors detected nothing. Adaptive multispectral cloaking, Chen explained matter-of-factly. One of many technologies we've developed. The Council watched in astonishment as the human vessels engaged the Shroud ships. The battle that followed defied conventional understanding of space warfare. The human ships moved as if unbound by normal physics, creating localized distortions that allowed them to appear almost instantaneously at different positions. Their weapons fired streams of particles that seemed to ignore the Shroud's previously impenetrable shields. Within minutes, 3 Shroud vessels had been disabled, 2 more retreated through hastily generated wormholes, and the remainder found themselves surrounded. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Chen broadcast on all frequencies. Your vessels are surrounded, and your technology is outmatched. Surrender and prepare to be boarded, or we will be forced to destroy you. The remaining Shroud ships powered down their weapons in submission. The Council chamber remained silent, processing the implications of what they had just witnessed. Humanity, supposedly a primitive, newly spacefaring species, had effortlessly defeated an enemy that had plagued the Confederation for decades. You knew they were coming, Zalera finally said, understanding dawning. Chen nodded. We've been tracking Shroud activity for years. Their attack patterns suggested they were building towards something significant. When we detected their scout ships near Proxima Centauri 3 days ago, we mobilized Artemis Squadron as a precaution. Years. Chancellor Grilksar's voice trembled slightly. You've been monitoring threats within Confederation space without authorization. We've been protecting our people and our interests, Chen corrected. The Odysseus you found was actually on a long-range mission to map Shroud territory when it was damaged in an ambush. We've been gathering intelligence on them since our first encounters 7 years ago. The implication hung heavy in the air. Humanity had been traveling among the stars long before the Confederation had discovered them. Dr. Petal stepped forward again. Chancellor, esteemed council members, this moment represents an opportunity. The Shroud has been neutralized. Their technology and any captives they've taken can be recovered. Rather than focusing on humanity's perceived deception, perhaps we might discuss a new relationship based on the reality of who we actually are. The council chambers erupted into chaotic discussion. Some members argued for sanctions against Earth for violating Confederation protocols. Others advocated immediate military alliance given the demonstrated effectiveness of human technology against the Shroud threat. A few even suggested that humanity's deception justified their exclusion from the galactic community entirely. Throughout the heated debate, Admiral Chen and her team remained composed, as if they had anticipated this exact scenario, which, Zalera realized, they probably had. When the initial furor subsided, Chancellor Grilksar spoke with the gravity of one who understands that history is being made. It seems the Confederation's protocols for evaluating new species require reconsideration. Admiral Chen, while the Council cannot condone your government's deception, we must acknowledge the service you have rendered today. Chen inclined her head slightly. The United Earth is not seeking approval, Chancellor. We're seeking partnership, genuine partnership between equals. The galaxy faces threats that neither of us fully comprehends alone. The Shroud is merely the most immediate. You propose an alliance, Zilara asked. I propose reality, Chen replied simply. Humanity exists as we are, not as you believed us to be. We can continue this charade of primitive and advanced species, or we can acknowledge that different civilizations develop along different technological paths, sometimes arriving at capabilities through routes others hadn't considered. Dr. Patil added, imagine what might be accomplished if your material science combined with our propulsion systems, if your biogenetic understanding merged with our quantum computing. Not as teacher and student, but as collaborators. The council chamber fell silent as centuries of Confederation doctrine, the careful management of technological development, the hierarchical integration of new species, faced its greatest challenge. Finally, Science Director Thelos spoke, his scientific curiosity overcoming his initial outrage. I would very much like to understand how your quantum tunneling system overcomes the Heisenberg uncertainty barriers we've always encountered. A genuine smile crossed Admiral Chen's face for the first time. And I would be fascinated to learn how your photonic crystalline computing architecture achieves its remarkable processing density. Chancellor Grilxar raised his appendages in the traditional gesture signifying a momentous decision. The Confederation Council will convene a special session to establish new protocols for human integration. In the meantime, Admiral Chen, your vessels have our permission to secure the captured Shroud ships and coordinate with our forces. As the formal proceedings concluded and the various officials broke into smaller discussion groups, Admiral Zilara approached Chen privately. You orchestrated this entire scenario, she said quietly. It wasn't an accusation, merely an observation. Chen's expression revealed nothing. The Odysseus was genuinely disabled. Its discovery by your patrol was fortuitous timing, but not entirely unexpected, Zilara pressed. They always do, Chen agreed. Every new force in the universe tests boundaries, seeks weaknesses. The question is whether we face such tests divided or united. The two admirals stood side by side, representatives of civilizations that had developed across thousands of light years from each other, now joined by circumstance and necessity. The galaxy had suddenly become both smaller and vastly more complex. To partnership, then, Zilara offered, extending her hand in the human gesture she had studied. Admiral Chen clasped it firmly. To partnership, and to whatever lies beyond. On the view screen before them, human and Confederation ships moved into formation around the captured Shroud vessels, the first joint operation of what would become a new era in galactic history, an era where no species would be dismissed as primitive simply because they chose to reveal themselves cautiously to an unknown universe.